Hi everyone, this is Corey here. Let me just slide in here in the middle. So what we will do today, I do a really nice little deep dive into the buff system of my game, Multiplication Mayhem. I will go through all this chart. I will go through all the code. And also first I show what is actually happening in the game, how the buffs work. So you get a really good deep view of how a buff system can be built. What you need to know about this game is already up on Steam, coming soon, demo available, called Multiplication Mayhem, and the whole game is I'm writing it using as much as possible with events and scriptable objects to avoid tightly coupling. So let me just show. So these are the buffs what we can use. The different animals can cause different spells and things what helps us. We have a new viewer where I can actually select the animal. So if I want to put on key 1, 2 or 3 different animals, then I can do that. And you see that's right away will change here as well. And when I'm happy with my selection, then I just go start the game. And then while the game is running, I can activate like my speed buff, or if I fall down, then I can activate the cat, which will heal me, which I lost a heart. And also I can get a help from the wolves, which shows me which platform is available. I can go here. Right now I cannot select another one because they are recharging. But if I die one more time and I have available slots, then I can actually select another set. Like if I do one more round, then I think at least the ostrich will be free. And if I die again, then I can select. So I have an option now to change at least the number 3. So if I put that on the rhino, right now doesn't matter if I push the save icon or the another button, because that part is under some changes. So then I can use the rhino, for example. So that's how it works. I can use the different animals for helping me on my quest with all the buffs. So let's see how is this actually work. Okay. So let's do a quick overview with those diagrams. So here are all the actions what I can receive and send within the game. I'm using just simple C# events. Let me just show this. So this one comes from the buff actions. So you can see this one translated here. So action can be changed or initted or removed at init time, activated, recharged. There is when it's recharging, at each step I sending an event, like every second or so. And then they can be reset or on activation request. I will explain that, what is that means. So you see, these are in a scriptable object, so there is only one set of these exist, and I call them buff actions, and these are action type. That means I can invoke them, and I can listen to and subscribe and listen to any of this. So just simply showing that. How is that work? Is you can, from buff action, like let's say on buff changed, I subscribe to it, and then when anytime a message sent like that, then I will handle it, for example, using this selected function. And also I can invoke messages, like when there is the charge need to step forward, like update, then I can call buff action on charge. I invoke this event with the right parameters, and then whoever subscribed to these events will all get the message. So that's how the events itself are sent, and these are all. So to go through them, when I save or load the game, then I have a on buff init or on remove or buff remove. This is separated from the on change because this happens init time. I needed this because some of the UIs have to know if this just set up right now or it's just changed, like we selected a different one. And then you see when we edit the buffs, when we use the selector to select a different one, then we send the on buff changed action or event. Okay, when the player clicks one of them, so hits 1, 2, or 3, then it activates one of the buffs, and then send on activated. I will explain in a moment what on activated request is. And then when it's activated, I start the effect. It could be all kind of different things depending on like the effect itself, of the effect of the buff, or and plus all kind of effects what's surrounding it, like the little stars what was flying after the character when they was running quickly. And then it goes to this on recharge step. So if there are different types of the events, some of them is recharging per seconds, some of them per rounds or permanent, or even last for a turn before it recharges. So it knows its type, and then its cause, okay, cause when it's a second passed, that's the update timer, handles that, and then it's keep calling itself until it's recharged, and then it goes send a on recharge state, and then that get handled, and then it's available again, and then it kind of resets, and then it's ready to use again. And then on activation request, I technically should need another arrow here. So some of the buffs, like the speed buff, works right away. I click on it and it's activated. Nothing really to check or do extra. However, let's say when the Rhino is charging through the screen, the charge buff, that one we have to check actually if we are at the right moment in the game. So when the numbers is actually on the field, not when we waiting for the next set. So when the buffs are there, then and only then it makes sense to use it. So what is the does, when the player push the button, I want to have the Rhino charge, then it checks. It sends a request. Can I actually use this buff at this moment? And if the answer is yes, then it's automatically become on activated, and then the same way goes through it than any other. In case if it's not the right time to use that buff, then maybe nothing happens, or I will play a sound effect or something to let the player know actually that one was pushed not at the right time. So that's on activation request. Okay, I can zoom in a little bit on this one so you can see maybe better. Depends on what size of screen you are looking at. So maybe if I, oh wait, it's hard to navigate there, but you can see at save those ones on changing, selecting a new buff, that event get triggered, and then when we activate it, then this goes in a row until it resets and ready again. Okay. So I will show in a second all the states of these buffs. Let me grab one. So when, let's get the, so this is the, it's actually, here are the different buffs, for example, and a buff can be available, ready, recharging, or even used state. Okay, and that's stored in these. These are again scriptable objects, the same way how the other was, but these are generated for each and every buff what we have. Let me show these for you. So technically the file itself is only storing these values, and I have all the buff states what I showed you, this available, ready, recharge, and used. So if I go back to our diagram, then you see when the buff is activated, and we code this on buff removed or init, which was here, then it's either become available. It means available means it's can be used, but at the moment is not part of that 3 active one. And then if it's selected from there using the menu, then it's we call the on buff changed, which was this one, and then it's become ready. So either it's loaded in and it's ready, or we manually selected it and it's become ready. Okay, and then comes that part where we trying to click on it and then activate it, recharging and recharged. So that's you can see here. So when it's ready, then it can be recharging state while it's ticking to recharged, and when it's finished recharged, then it's just become ready again. So it's quite simple to really state for those ones who can be activated. And then if we don't want it anymore, it's get used, and then in the end of the turn it can be available again. I'm not using this exactly that way. This was the original plan where you can, if you used it, you cannot change it until the end of the turn. End of the turn is like when you did all the 10 rounds. So that's kind of one level. However, I felt it a bit restricting, so now I'm thinking of, and I'm writing the code and testing in that way the game. If you're only not able to change it while it's recharging, that makes sense, because otherwise you just use all of them and then switch to the next set and so on, which would be, let's say, unfair or too easy cheating. So when it's recharging, I'm not allowed you to change it, but otherwise, if you used it once, it's technically it's just handled the same at the moment as available. But that's a good option to have, like in case if you really don't want to allow them to change it, for example. So that's how is it get all the way around. Okay, so let's see that in code. So we have the different buff states, which is add to here to the buffs. So I can keep track of it there. I have the cooldown type, which I explained. This can be round or seconds or passive. Passive is technically just there. Seconds is takes 1, 2, X amount of seconds, or 1, 2, and X amount of rounds to be recharged. Then effect type, these are just really enums for the different type of buffs. So it's easier to kind of track them. So it's speed, slow time, glide, double jump, extra life, which is not extra life anymore, but a heal. So these are changing a little bit until while I'm optimizing all these. But all of these are assets what we can create, what I showed you just a second ago, and you can set up all these values, like for example, it has an ID, it has a name, which you can see normally here. Wait, let me grab the right one. So it's assigned. Okay, yeah, that's the one. So number 9 is wolf hauling, which is here, and then the buff description, which is this part. You can see my mouse, okay. And then if I just jump to the end, it's the name of the animal and then the description of the animal here. And this is just something what I use to make sure the right button is assigned to the right animal. As I using the new UI toolkit, and while I enjoy a lot because I know really well CSS, and I enjoy a lot to use something similar to do all the UIs, there are some moments when it's hard to assign things, and when I have a set of them generated. So having storing the ID is really helping in these cases. I made sure that part of the code as well. Okay, and then I have a icon, which is the different animal icons what you see, and then this is the type, like was glide, double jump, and so we see. And then this one, effect amount, I'm not using. It was an early idea which was removed. Now I have to remove it from here. It will be never used. But the original idea was like you can, like it's telling me how many wolves will show up on the screen, but then I decided the wolves will know how many, the wolves object class part will know how many shows up. I don't need to put a number here for that. So it's just really have to tell I want X, Y, or Z type of buffs to be called, which was, if you remember, stored in these enums. Okay. The naming is not the best, but the names of the buffs have changed since I created this, so I do a little update there. Yes, okay. So if I go back, you can see is a cooldown type is rounds, and 5 rounds to, for example, this one to get cool. And the state is ready, what we discussed earlier. And then the effect length is again if it's rounds, then in rounds, then seconds and seconds, but it tells how long the effect is lasts. And then if it needs a request first, there is just a tick box. That one is exactly this one. If it needs the request, the activation request, then I just tick box it. So when it's activated, then automatically it will be not sending an active event, just a request. Like I would like to run this, is it the right time? Okay, so that's my scriptable objects. I have a bunch of them, one for each of the buffs, which it makes it very easy to handle them because I only have this set. I can set up everything or anything on these. I can edit them even runtime. And also they are kind of fixed because they are assets. And then I showed the actions. I showed that, and I have another scriptable object. There is only one exist of this. This is what you already seen me clicking on. This active. It's called the active buffs, which is stores that whichever 3 is active. You've seen that in the game, in the bottom left corner. So if I go into the game for a moment, then you will see them here. So whatever is in this, it will be show up there. So if I change them to, I don't know, this one to this one to number 1, then number 1 shows up and you will see them here, the peacock as well. Or if I put the number 2 to the elephant, then the elephant will be there as well, or the ostrich or the cat. Whatever I change, it will be actually represented there. And this one also is just one scriptable object. Okay, so this scriptable object has just a list of buffs. Actually, the length is 3 always at the moment, because even if I have less, then it should be null. This part I'm still fine-tuning, but that's the idea. And at the moment, this code is a bit older, and I think I use the binary formatter, which you should not use. I will switch this over soon to JSON. It's just a code what I wrote earlier, but the idea is it knows its buffs, the 3 buffs, whatever it is set, even if it's empty, and then it can save it and load it for the player. And then I have a marshal unmarshal, which is technically mapping the data what loaded to the class properly, as I have images and other assets in it, so it need a little trickery to actually manage it. Okay. Good. Next bit is the buff manager. It lives in against the managers. Buff manager. This one is technically knows everything about the buffs. Whatever as the moment is out here will be actually called and run. The ones what are not ready yet, they are not here, but they are already in the selector, but they are not allowed yet. So here it knows the buffs, knows the active buffs, and also it's has access to the levels. And then also I have some trickery here for the demo. if the game is a demo version or not, then it's also have to know that, but that's secret. And about the levels, why they are here, they are also scriptable objects. They just has a animal ID or a buff ID assigned to them, so we know which buffs become available in which level. So I don't know, this one, level, which one? The level 1, the ID number 5. And if we look for the buffs, we'll not find that easily, the number 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5, okay, that's the high jump, which is the Krios, that's the kangaroo. Yeah, the kangaroo is the one who, the number 5. So that's the way how I manage and associate different levels to buffs. That's just for the unlock mechanism, but let's take a look on here. There is a bunch of things here. Most of them is private. It's weird because why I have this one there. Okay, don't worry about that. Okay, so what I'm doing here, I grab the controller, and this is the place where we read out if the player actually pushed the button, any of the buff 1, buff 2, or buff 3 button. I'm using the new input system. If you're familiar with it, that's actually will assign whatever key is assigned to it, will call these events. And in that case, I will, I have some to-dos here. So in case, for example, if we click use buffs, then it's checking here if it's in the right state, it is ready to use, and it's exist. And if that's all true, here comes if it needs the request first, what I discussed earlier, that was the if it needs request first, or it will be activated right away. So if it's need request first, then it creates a request event, invokes with the index. Index is the which one was pushed, which one from the 3. Or on activated, it's just calls a activating event. Okay, so that's how you activate. Really, it's easy. Okay, this part I don't want to go in detail, but just because I'm using the UI toolkit, I'm grabbing the right buttons here and I'm setting up events for them, and I just hide the I don't even, is this old? Okay, I just hiding probably one of the UI element there. Okay, but here I'm setting up those buttons. Okay, I have edit button click, which I'm not using this. I actually don't need that. So please ignore that. That I used to, or I still maybe have, but there was like little edit icons. There was, so if I start it, I had little edit icons on the buffs, which I don't need anymore because I changed. So you see these edit icons, those ones are there. But instead of that, I have this menu, and you can just have the manage buff. So anytime when the game stops or starts, or it's in between recovering after a death, then you have this menu to start or continue the game and also manage your buffs. So I'm not need these buttons. The reason I did this way because it's a way much easier to handle the controller than I have these ones on the editor, so or on the buff menu. So that's the reason it's a way easier way like that. So I don't. So I'm not. I actually have to remove that later. Okay, on enable, I'm signing off for the input system events for the buff and also all the events really, because I have to handle them. Like if the buff changed, initted, activated, there is a step in the recharging phase, or it's finished recharging, and also my game has handling the game states and the round states by events. So what you see in the game, if I'm in the menus, if I'm playing right now, is it waiting for the number, drawing new number, or I have to take position in the game? All those events are coming in here and it get handled. Yes, this one I don't need anymore because I'm not editing here. And this one is just hides and shows the buttons, which are again don't need. So let me just script through those. Okay, the use buffs I already showed you. And then this one, if get code when, yes, if the buffs changed or initted or technically have to be updated, then I'm in the wrong file. That's the reason it was weird. I'm in the UI. I wanted to first show the buff manager, but all right, let's continue. Let me do the UI first then. So this one is technically just updates the background depending in if they changed. That's the background is the image of the animal or the buff, and then if the round if we are in the right state of the game, then it shows or hides the buttons, which again I don't need. And then the same way, this maybe is more interesting, is if the game state, how is it changing? We recharging. We call recharge on the different buttons. Those are the little round things what was going around and getting ready the buffs for use again, or removing them if they're not needed. When activated, then the timer goes on. Let me just show it because I'm just talking about the timer, but I don't know if it will be visible if I just open here. Okay, let me. No, I think I need the right class to add, so it's easier just show you in action. So if I start the game and I use, then you can see the timer is going down on the different ones. How depend on really how much time they need, and then you see is nicely going around, depending on the time it needs to actually recharge. That's just moved this one. Don't know how much. Okay, that one is moved because I think one of them, the charge is 3 rounds. Every round it goes and charges one. The If I go back to the ostrich, the ostrich should be in seconds. Yeah, it's 64 seconds to recharge. And now both of them can be used again. Okay, so that's what handled by when the timer is 12, it's in 12 section. Then it shows all of them, and then how the charge changes when we get the event of the charge step. Activate like one step it forward with one. Yes, charge step, on charge step, and then on recharge. That's what you can see here. So if we step forward, then it just calculates how much of those of that circle have to be shown, and then it creates the right classes. And also, if it's recharges, and then it just simply removes the timer from the image there. And now let's jump back to the buff manager. Now we see in the UI. So element can be selected. This is more the business side of the logic, not the UI side. That's the reason I have two. Buff manager manages actually the actions, what to do. The menu UI and shows the elements the correct way. So selected is when you select a new buff. What it does, it's really just puts into right position, and it resets it. It just sets up. It's mainly because this one also I think is used when activate is separate. Okay, so activate is when it's first time it's set up, and this one is just when you select it, you clicked on it, then it just set up. So really and makes it ready, makes the old one, whatever was previously on the same position, used, and makes the new one ready. And when it's first time set, then it's just activate is unactivated. Okay, so activate is different. Activate is when you clicked on it, then if it's not passive, then it sets it to recharging, and then sets the cooldown length into, just stores it away, and then also invokes the on charge step event, which will start to put up the little clock on it, which goes around. And then the next one is handle game and round state. So this one is a round, because if you remember, some of these are round based, some of them seconds based buffs. If it's a new round coming and we draw a new number, then goes through all of them, and if they are actually the cooldown is round based, then it will tick it down and invoke a step on charged. If it's reached 0, then it says it's already recharged, and then set it to ready. If the game state, yeah, I have some warnings here. What I found some bugs. So if the game state is set, then depending on if we are on the map, we won the game, we lost the game, then it sets all of them to available. If we are running, aka we are actually playing phase, then it's just sets the recharging up, like prepares the recharging to 0, like it resets all the recharge part. And then I have this coroutine, which the tick, which will create a tick event for all which use seconds, because the round ones are handled by the round state draw number event. The tick is every seconds there will send a on chart step until they reach 0, and then it's just recharged, it sends. So that runs every second, but it also turns off and on when if there is I can start and stop the ticker. So it's not runs all the time. It's whenever I have a buff ready. No, whenever I have a buff recharging, then I turn it on. And whenever I finished all of them, then I can just stop the ticker and remove it. And then can buff. I don't remember what's that. Just a moment. On activation request. Oh, this is the one. This is the one what I was talking about. If we jump back to the screen. This is the one which the on activation request. So when the player activates it, then depending on if it can be activated or not, it goes there or here. So yes, so if the game running and we are taking position. Yes, so it's the game is running phase and the round is in take position phase. And then I have those 3, which is only can be activated in that phase. So it allows only these ones, and then it's get actually unactivated. If we are not in the right phase, then nothing happens. So that one is the buff manager. And then I have the last one is the buff selector controller, which is controlling this selector. I'm still fine-tuning it, but technically it also reacts for the buff buttons 1, 2, and 3, and also normal clicking. Please notice this buff is not the same than, it's the same button, but it's not the same like what we had in the buff. It's not a buff manager when I have the 3 button not in the UI. So yeah, these ones is the player buff button, and this one is the UI buff button. So the 2 will not trigger at the same time because I'm switching from one. How is it called? Action map. From one action map to the another. So whenever those one push, then I select the buff, but I can show that first, why not? So okay. I just have a debug at the moment here. No, not the debug, because okay, so this one is still fine-tuning because I have some edge cases what I have to cover. But definitely, if you push the button on the buff what is already set, like I'm on the cat, which is number 1, and I hit number 1, then nothing happens. So that's the reason we just return from that. We don't do it. If it's recharging phase, then again, we don't do it. Yeah, I will play some sound there. And then if is available, then we will set it up, which will go in and sets the right number into that little circle and remove any other numbers. However, there is another one what is not ready. If it is already set to 2 and you push 1, then I have to kind of remove 1 and add another one. I still have to add that. Will probably happen tomorrow, not tonight. So I have some edge cases there to fix, but generally that's it to set up which one goes where. And also we send the event, which you should be now familiar with. Where is the event? Is the event here? Yeah, I invoke the onBuff changed event, which is that one, onBuff changed, or if you want, then this one, onBuff change, which is make from available to ready and part of the 3 selected active buffs. Okay, what else interesting here? Let me see. There's plenty. Yes, this is just a general on-enable and on-disable, just turning them on and off when you subscribe to stuff. Then it's better to do that way. Here I'm just grabbing some of the buttons. I will actually change because I think I will just have a close button instead of have a cancel and save, because I decided it's better if I'm, as a UI, it's better if I'm right away clicking on it and then it's get saved. And then when we click, oh yeah, cancel is just technically close it, update menu state, and then close the menu. I grab the icons and the buttons, and then set the icons up with question mark, and then whatever icons I can find depending on which level I have and if it's unlocked or not, or in right now the case is that I'm just kind of overriding it. That's the show all buffs is ticked. Then I show all of them. I think it's somewhere. Yeah, show all buffs. It will not visible because it's just behind me. Wait. So yeah, this show all buffs is ticked. That's the reason when I was playing with it, you could see all of them. That's excellent for testing for me. So that's why not just the one with the, not just the unlocked one are visible. Yes, and then I just assign some click events, like the select animal one. So if you click on it, then it selects, highlights the animal, and then you can set up pushing the 1, 2, or 3 or B, X, Y on the controller to set up the right buff to the right slot, really. And what data? Update menu state is just hide shows the menu. Select animal, that's the one which is takes the animal, finds the index, and then set, I'm storing the active animal. And then when you activate the animal, then it's this is the one what does that little highlight. If you don't know this white little square around the animal, that's the way you will able to navigate through. Because I had to make this work with the controller, so I was thinking a lot how, and it was easier if you can navigate even with the joystick, either clicking with the mouse, that's easy, but you can navigate through the elements, and then whichever you are on, then you can just nicely click A or B, A. So select it, and then you can just very easily use the 1, 2, 3 or the controller to actually set them. So yes, it's went through some iterations to make it really nicely usable. I have vast experience on web, so it was not that hard to come up with something. But it took a few ideas until I got to the current state. Okay, and then update details. This is just this details screen. This is just grabs all the elements and then updates the data from the buffs with it. It's nothing more than that. And then some formatting happens for the instant or in seconds for the duration and recharge. I have to check actually. Is the duration is always seconds based or round based? Yeah, I will double check that. But yes, those are the formatting. One. This is an old one. No, ignore it, because now I have. I used to get by position. I tried to align them by position and store them by position, but it's better to use the names. And then handle buff state changed. That's again if the buff state changed, which is probably aligned to one of the yes. So if we have clicked on a buff or we initted and we have to set up initially, then I lost the function. Handle, yes. Then it goes through all of them, and for each of them sets up the right classes on it. So that's just really setting up the classes. So yeah, that's my buff selector, and that's how I made it work on Multiplication Mayhem. So that was a kind of a deep dive. I know I rushed through some of the code, but I tried to focus on the ones which is actually related to buffs, not just the UI. And here you can see again the try to align it so here you can see again how I designed it. This helped a lot actually to build it, so I recommend to draw it out whenever you build something like this. Okay, so if you have any questions, then please leave it down in the comments. Also, if you just have general Unity questions, you can leave me questions as well. And if you are still watching then and interested in the game, then you can try it out. I have a demo up on Steam. The link will be down in the description. And then I try to do every other Wednesday this stream. So come and join me the next time. Thank you for watching and see you soon.